My spouse told me, do what I tell you to do, or I'm going to divorce you. Hi, I'm Nick. I'm a Christian marriage coach, and maybe you have been in a situation like this where your spouse is sort of making an ultimatum and taking a really harsh, what feels at least like a really harsh stand. What can you do? And you just feel like you're at a loss, feel like everything feels unfair. You feel like your marriage is sort of hanging on a thread. What can you do? So this is a post that I found on a marriage support group on Facebook. What I'm going to do is I'm going to read the post and react to it and try and give you some thoughts about how I would try and think about this situation if I was trying to help this person. I think the benefit for you in hearing this is that this is written from a perspective of someone who is in the middle of it, right? Which is, that's how we do marriage and that's how we do life, right? We think about it from our perspective. So I hope that by offering a third person perspective to this person's first person experience, that can help you think about your world in a way that will help you get perspective whenever you're going through hard things. So let's see how we can help. It says, my husband has given me an ultimatum. Do everything I say or divorce. My husband and I don't have the greatest marriage. We are young, in our 20s, and have a lot of issues. I feel my needs aren't met. He feels his aren't met, but the difference is that I express mine and he feels criticized, but he doesn't express his needs, so he feels unsatisfied. He's distant, manipulative, shuts down, and has a hard time expressing himself, which results in him trying to gaslight me. And I am argumentative, have anger issues. I have a yelling problem where I insult him. He overcame an alcohol and porn addiction and is still in therapy. I also am in therapy for my own issues. We still fight all the time, and it's usually I who express my feelings over an issue. He says something like to get over it, and that he doesn't want to talk about it, and then I push and push and push because I feel that that's unfair. He says that's the entire reason our marriage is failing. It goes on to say, we're pursuing couples counseling, but there aren't a lot of great options. It's very expensive. Their church currently doesn't offer anything. Insurance doesn't cover marriage counseling, and I don't know what to do. So let me talk for a second about a couple of things here. So the first thing I wanted to appreciate is this person is at least humble enough to know that she has trouble controlling her temper. She knows that she's argumentative, she has anger problems, and that she yells. And the other thing that stuck out to me was she says that she pushes and pushes and pushes. So what that triggers in my mind is that is kind of it sounds almost like a typical what is known as a pursuing type of conflict style. What happens there is someone feels safest when conflicts are kind of in some ways attacked and resolved, and then that resolution is what helps that person feel safe, and they will attack that conflict in the hopes that they can resolve it and that they can get to a place of safety. The trouble is that it sounds like this person's spouse is more a withdrawing conflict style, which means that they feel safest when there is a absence of conflict in their world. So the pursuer feels safest when the conflict is resolved, and the withdrawer feels safest when the conflict is sort of not, when there's no conflict, right? So the pursuer pushes, the withdrawer withdraws and withdraws, and it forms this really tough cycle to get out of. So the first thing that I want to appreciate is that while this person is, and I'm so thankful that this person is humble enough to know that their anger and their pushing isn't really helping the situation, and it's something that they want to work on. Part of what you're going to want to do is learn how to pursue in a way that builds a safe environment for your spouse to stay in the conflict with you. Now, if I was speaking to the husband here, the goal there would be learn how to create learn how to, let's say, rest in Christ and be brave, be courageous, and tolerate some of that conflict, push yourself to tolerate some of that conflict in an effort to help the pursuing spouse feel safe in their experience, right? So the main thing that you're looking for here is, okay, how can both of us seek to serve the other in our conflict styles? Definitely easier said than done. One thing, but I've seen it happen. I've seen couples get better at it. Actually, my wife and I, in the first number of years of our marriage, I would call myself more of the pursuer and her more of the withdrawing spouse. And part of what I had to learn in being able to create safe space for her was to actually just be able to not feel afraid or not feel angry, but to feel sad. Often I would feel angry because that felt less vulnerable to feel. The anger felt less vulnerable to feel than the sadness did or the disappointment did. So for me, learning to kind of expand my ability to tolerate sad and hard feelings allowed me to not get as angry and to accept that my wife needed to feel safe in order to stay in conflicts with me. So that's one way that I have grown in that. I'm sure there's lots more to say about that, but that is a good place to start to help you deal with that kind of pushing, and your husband just kind of going away. A lot of what we're talking about here, the other thing I'll say about it, a lot of what we're talking about here is communication styles and communication techniques, mindsets, etc. So one thing that I have ready that I can offer as a form of help, if you are in this situation, I have a marriage communication workshop, how to stop fighting with your spouse for Christian couples. It is actually coming up this Friday. And so if you are interested in figuring out more about how to build safe environments for your spouse and how to stop fighting with your spouse and how the gospel encourages you and empowers you to be able to do that, use the link somewhere on this video and sign up for that marriage communication workshop today. And I can't wait to see you there, and I hope that you found this helpful. All right, thanks. Bye.